On my 30th birthday. Si Jing, he didn't come home. It was his first time spending the night away, and on the special day of all days. I was angry. I called him. At first no one answered, then his phone was turned off. A woman's sixth sense gnawed at me like a wild beast. I screamed hysterically, cried until I had nothing left, and sat on the sofa until dawn. He didn't return until noon the next day. I no longer had the strength to confront him. My hollow eyes followed his movements. He stopped at the balcony door, took off his jacket, sat in the wicker chair, and said he wanted to talk. He fiddled with the wedding ring on his finger and said he didn't want to lie to me. I was wonderful. But over these 3 years he had realized we weren't compatible, so he wanted a divorce. He took off the ring and set it on the coffee table with a soft sound. I asked if he wanted a divorce. He nodded. I asked if he had fallen for someone else. He said yes. What else could I say? He said he knew I might not be able to accept it right away, but once he decided something, no one could change it. If I was hurting, I could hit him or yell at him. I let out a sound from my throat that was uglier than a sob. He finally looked up, and the disgust in his eyes was no longer hidden. He asked what I was laughing at. Back when he followed me around like a shadow, he had said something similar. I've decided you're the one. If you say no, I'll stay single forever. Once I decide something, no one can change it. Strictly speaking, we still had a month to go before the 3-year mark. His decisions really had a short shelf life. I said I agreed. He shot to his feet, eyes wide, and asked if I was serious. His hands trembled with excitement. He said he would send me the electronic version of the agreement so I could review it. He'd already drafted the divorce papers. He clearly had someone else. The thought of how he had held me not long ago made me sick. I wanted to tear his face off, but I didn't. I didn't want to lose my mind just because he had dumped me. That would make him think I couldn't live without him, that I would throw a tantrum and beg him to stay. Even if it was true, I couldn't let him know. I said our son had to go to me, along with the apartment on the second ring road. Everything else could be converted to cash 20 million yuan. He agreed almost without hesitation. What kind of woman made him give up even his son, without even pretending to fight for custody? When we married, he was 29 and I was 28. To make the most of my best childbearing years, we used no protection. January wedding, December birth. 2 happy events in the C family in 1 year. His parents were delighted. They came to help with the baby, and as soon as the weather warmed, they took our son to their house. I went back to my own apartment north of the city, the one I'd had before marriage. After my PhD, I had returned to my mother's embrace and landed a good job at a major tech firm. I had a respectable career and a good income, but being single broke my parents' hearts. Si Jing, he was my 5th blind date. I went in with low expectations, but he wasn't ugly or conceited. His education matched mine, and his looks were exactly my type. As we parted, he said we should exchange contact info. He enjoyed talking to me. Felt a sense of déjà vu. But at home, I rejected his friend request. How could someone so handsome be single? With his education, looks, and charm, he should have been in high demand. There had to be something wrong with him. A few days later, he showed up outside my building and confessed his intentions directly. He said we weren't young anymore. He wouldn't beat around the bush. He had decided on me the moment we met, and he didn't want to let me pass by. I hesitated. So he came by every day, following me all the way to my office. This went on for 6 months, and then we married. He was romantic, considerate, and satisfied me in every way. I asked why someone so exceptional needed a blind date. He said to find you. I grew more and more attached to him, more and more in love. I thought I had entered the happiest phase of my life. Then he dumped cold water on me when I least expected it. He moved fast. The next day, his assistant came to see me. I opened the envelope, read the agreement carefully, signed it quickly, and told the assistant to meet at the Civil Affairs Bureau at 8 the next morning. I wore a red dress and light makeup. A wedding was a happy occasion, so why not a divorce? Crying too much over someone who didn't love you, grieving too long, that was just foolish. He arrived before me. As always, he stared at me blankly and opened his mouth. I didn't walk beside him. I went straight to the divorce window and didn't look at him again until I had the certificate in hand. A week later, his parents found out. They brought him to my place. His mother took my hand. Her voice choked, saying that if he had done something wrong, they would discipline him. But please don't get divorced. I asked if he had told them why. She said he only said they weren't compatible. I said he had someone else. Did he mention that? All four elders stared at him. He stayed silent. I said they had been lecturing me from the moment they walked in, assuming it was my fault without knowing the facts. Was that how elders should behave? If they took lovers outside their marriages, would they just pretend nothing happened because they were old? My mother collapsed on the sofa, wiping her tears, regretting having rushed me into marriage. My father, usually a man of few words, was truly enraged. He said if he had known what Si Jing he was really like, he would never have let me marry such a beast. His parents' faces fell. His father slapped Si Jing hard across the face. His mother pounded on him weakly. Si Jing, he said it was enough, even if they killed him. It wouldn't change anything. He and I were already divorced. He said he had never really loved me. We married because our parents thought we were suitable. If Keon hadn't come back, he could have settled for me for the rest of his life. But Keon had returned the woman he truly loved. If his parents wouldn't accept her, he would run away with her. He didn't need the position of family heir. His father slapped him again. He said he had no feelings for me, that marrying me was just settling. Those cold words stabbed into my heart like thorns. I had to admire Si Jinghe's acting. How could he be so intimate with someone he didn't love, and show no trace of performance? And I was a complete fool. I had fallen for an actor. Given him my whole heart, devoted myself to him completely. I walked up to him and slapped him across the face as hard as I could. Again and again. He shouted, "Let her hit me. The harder she hits, the less I owe her." When I was exhausted, I collapsed to the floor. He said if his parents wanted grandchildren, Kion grows due next month. Another bomb went off over my head. I grabbed a broom and chased them out. That woman had been between me and Si Jinghe for nearly a year. He used to sleep in but suddenly started waking at 5, skipping breakfast at home, saying he was going to exercise before going straight to the office. He didn't like sour food but asked the housekeeper to make spicy sour shredded chicken for his lunch. He used to come straight home after work but started coming back later and later. Wasn't that there were no signs. I was just too stupid. One day, my neck was bothering me. And I was on my way to the traditional Chinese medicine hospital when I rear-ended another car. The driver turned out to be Si Jinghe's chauffeur Lao Wei. Then a heavily pregnant woman stepped out of the car. She was dressed head to toe in designer maternity wear, about my age. She was holding the latest iPhone and looked me up and down. So this was the car he had bought for her. I said I was Lin Na. The damage was minor. Just a scratch, I would take full responsibility. She said, "Is a scratch all you see? What if there's internal damage? More importantly, he scared me. I'm pregnant. If anything happens to my baby, can you afford the consequences?" Lao Wei was slapped by Yu Qian. His eyes were bloodshot with rage. The police arrived, and then Si Jinghe's car pulled up. He wrapped his arms around Yu Qian anxiously, checking her over. "Where are you hurt? Is the baby all right?" He said, "Nah, murder is a crime. Surely a top student like you knows that." I laughed bitterly. Birds of a feather flock together. Had anyone ever told you how perfect you are for each other? I drove to a different hospital. As I was registering, I heard his voice behind me. He said, "Lin Na, what are you really after? Stalking Qian like this? Even if you miss me, you can't harm a pregnant woman. What kind of satisfaction do you get from taking advantage of someone vulnerable?" I looked at him like he was an idiot. "Does this hospital belong to your family?" "You're awfully confident." I never liked you on that blind date. You wore me down with your persistence. What regret are you talking about? To could play that game. He didn't love me either, but that hadn't stopped him from marrying me. To avoid a 1 in a million chance of running into them again, I started biking to work. On the weekend, I took our son to the playground and ran into Lao Lei. He had been fired because of that incident. His wife was sick and couldn't work. Their son was only 7. He was the breadwinner. I felt guilty and referred him to my brother's company. When Si Jinghe found out, he waited for me outside my office. Kayang Kian was right. What's your relationship with Lao Lei? The moment I fire him, he lands a job at your family's company. Don't tell me you two are colluding to hurt Kian and my son. I said, it's exactly what you think. Go ahead and report me. Time passed. The bitterness of that failed marriage was eventually washed away by new suitors. Then one day, he texted saying he wanted to see our son. I hesitated. Not long after the divorce, my son kept asking when Daddy would come back from his business trip. He had gone to see Jinghe and said our son missed him. I told him his father was on a trip. Could he please visit him sometime? He had crossed his arms and looked down at me coldly. He said, "Didn't you refuse to let my parents see him? Now you're begging me? Could your motives be more obvious?" He thought I was using our son as an excuse to steal him back from you, Kian. I swallowed my anger and said I was wrong to have acted in anger, but he was Hao's father. He shouldn't be absent from his son's life. He sneered. I underestimated you. So scheming. Then he got in his car and drove off. In more than a year, he never once asked about our son. But this time I said yes. We would meet at the beach at 3 in the afternoon. When I opened the door, his hand was raised to knock. Our son threw himself into his arms. All the way there, the boy chattered nonstop. "Daddy, you were gone so long this time. Next time, don't leave me and Mommy for so long again, okay?" "Never again," he said. He looked back at me. I turned my face to the window. He brought 2 cold drinks and sat down beside me. "Nana, I'm sorry. I was blind. I had a wonderful wife and threw her away for what I thought was my true love." Then he told me the story. Kian was his ex-girlfriend. They had been on the verge of marriage when he introduced her to his parents. She was caught smoking in the bathroom by his mother and had ordered the housekeeper to put her shoes on for her. The elders thought she had no manners and refused to let him marry her. She left in anger and soon attached herself to a vulgar nouveau rich man. But she spent too much, and he beat her. She came back to Nanchang, pregnant, and ran into Si Jinghe at the airport. He thought it was fate. She gave birth. And then the nouveau rich man showed up. Only then did Si Jinghe learn that her daughter was not his. She hadn't come back for him. She was just carrying a pregnancy that couldn't handle the food elsewhere and wanted to be home. She wasn't that sentimental. She couldn't possibly still pine for an ex-boyfriend from 6 years ago. It was all his own doing. His own delusion. It wasn't until the paternity test came back that he realized what a joke he was. She got on the man's private jet and left him standing in the wind. She called him and said, "Go ahead. Report me. But if the world finds out how stupid the president of Zhihua Technology is, won't everyone die laughing? Will anyone still want the products you make with that IQ? If I married you, would you give me all your money? Your 2 indeed parents would watch me like a hawk. Would you want to live like that? All I wanted was to watch you get divorced, to make you regret it, to drive you crazy." For turning on me back then, she hung up. His legs gave way. The sea wind blew my hair into tangles. He said, "Nana, I know you don't believe anything I say anymore. But I want you to know, I did love you." The calm way you reacted after I asked for a divorce broke my heart. I thought it meant you never loved me, that you didn't care what I did. That's why I said those things about having no feelings, about settling. "Nana, give me one more chance. I'll be a good husband. A good father," I said. "Then how do you explain not coming to see your son?" He said he didn't want to disturb our rest. I said, "How exhausting your job must be, no holidays at all. No wonder you make so much money." He froze, his face reddening. After that day, He came to my place every day buying toys, snacks, sometimes groceries. He would tie on an apron and offer to cook. I was amazed at his transformation. Kion had trained him well in just a few months. Before, he never set foot in the kitchen. He couldn't even heat milk without the housekeeper. I took the tomato from his hand and said I had a housekeeper. If he wanted to see our son, he could come on weekends. It was getting late. He should go, he said. And Nana, for our son's sake, give me one more chance. Just one. I untied his apron and closed the kitchen door. There's no chance for us. I don't eat leftovers, and they don't eat grass that's already been chewed. I pointed to the huge bouquet of 1,000 roses on the balcony. That's from my suitor. I've accepted. We're dating. So other than to see the children, please don't say or think anything else. It's impossible. He asked if our son was okay with it. I said, it's not marriage. It's dating. Our son doesn't get a vote. Did you ask him when you were cheating? He lowered his head and said nothing. The next weekend, he didn't come. I saw on the news that a serious accident had happened. A group chat was discussing it. The victim appeared to be the CEO of ZHI Technology. A woman on a motorcycle had died too. His ex-girlfriend, her face disfigured. How could an experienced driver like him crash on a road he knew so well? And how was she involved in the same accident? That night, the news was confirmed. Si Jing-hee was dead. His mother, whom I hadn't spoken to in over a year, called, her voice hoarse from crying. She asked if I could bring Hao to the funeral. I hesitated for a long time. In the end, I said no. But after the funeral, I bought flowers and took our son to the grave. He was still young. He didn't fully understand death. He just looked at the photo on the tombstone and said, "Crying, Daddy, be good over there. I'll come see you with Mommy after school." I learned later that after Kion left with the nouveau rich man, he had a sudden heart attack and died. She inherited a fortune and returned to Nanchang, living a comfortable life. That day, she was riding her Harley when Si Jing-hee spotted her and chased after her. He was so emotional he hit the accelerator too hard. She was thrown into the air and then run over by another car. She died instantly. Si Jing-hee held on for a while before he died too. I deleted his number. I bought a new phone. Life turned to a new page.